Hi guys, it's Gigi back for another Sims social experiment. We've got all the Sims back together again from the dead, along with our winner from the last round, Casey. They all seem so content with themselves, but, trust me, that will not last long, I can assure you now. Now, time to start making their little houses for the next few weeks. And I mean very little. We are going to imprison each Sim in their own individual house with all the things they could possibly need to survive. If I'm being honest, I'm too good to these Sims. Look how generous I'm being. I've given them a TV and computer. To even it out, I'll add cobwebs and a stained floor. Much better. Now it's time to make 8 of them. Okay, all that's left now is to get the Sims in the house and laugh at their misery. I think we need to give them all dishwashers so that they're not left with a room full of plates. Clara is staring at her shower, that I have blessed her with. She is being ungrateful, thinking, oh dear God, I'm having PTSD of school. Why have I let this become my life? Casey doesn't let this new housing situation affect him because he can still sleep all day, so he is happy. I don't think he's worked out how to use the bed yet. Casey obviously has his priorities right. Why get up to go to the toilet, which he actually has this time when he could just pee where he is? Stop learning skills and get on with the fun stuff. Death doesn't have all the time in the world for you guys. He has a very busy schedule, you just seem to be a large percentage of it. Lily is still staring at her ugly shower but can't seem to bring herself to actually use it, while Clara is soaking her room with it as I decided to not give them a cubicle. Again with the skills. You people are enjoying yourself far too much. The computers definitely seem to be the popular choice of activity. We'll have to take them away at some point. Sims are not supposed to be happy. Someone please explain to me what goes through these idiots' minds. Clara chooses to make 8 grilled cheese sandwiches but then decides to settle for a jam sandwich from the fridge instead. Amy has done the same. She made a hot meal then grabbed a sandwich. Nothing new with Casey. Still sleeping in the chair. Having not been bothered to actually open his bed. Okie dokie, time to make this a tad more interesting. These Sims have lost all TV privileges. I have left them their computers, but I have a feeling I'll just take them away later. You know, just ease them slowly into boredom and isolation. Here we see Barry in his natural habitat. No issue with being isolated for him as he has himself to talk to and laugh at. He is topping up his social bar in his needs. Maybe his insanity might get him far in this experiment. Here we see Amy trying to forget about her life by playing video games. I will definitely have to get rid of this escape mechanism. Okay, you have all had enough fun now. Time for your last mean of entertainment and interaction to disappear. Say bye-bye to your computers and what seems to be your best friends. How else am I supposed to drive you insane if you have a way of enjoying yourself? Hahaha, much better. Now you have nothing to do with your lives apart from doing what you got to do to survive. Casey is still not letting this get to him. He's like, as long as I got my good old chair and the ability to sleep, then life is going great. Nothing can get in the way of me and being lazy. I don't even need your silly pull down bed to be happy. Time for a little game, I think. These Murphy beds are fun to bring up and down, so why not give it a go? They may try to kill you as you do it, but that doesn't matter. Where's the fun in it if it wasn't an extreme life risk? Okay, drop them. Let's see who's the fastest and who gets hurt. Well, Casey seems to be very slow. Just drop it already, Casey. Having a little trouble there, are we? That's what you get for being so slow. The bed fought back, but not enough it seems. Casey is still able to get up with just a couple of bruises. Oh my gosh, is this what I think it is? Casey is sleeping in a bed. This is a first. Now that I taught him how to bring it down, he had discovered that it is far more comfortable than a chair. Maybe now we should take away something else from them. How about the chair? They all seem to understand how to work a bed now, so I don't think they need it. Clara over here is a demonstration of how dumb Sims can be. She is sleep deprived and ravenous for food. If she continues to starve herself, then she should be the first to die. Wow. Barry is over here cooking food for himself. Clara could learn from this. I think we should make this game a daily thing. It is very fun after all, giving the Sims each a chance to, well, die. Time to bring out the remotes and lower the bed. George wins the race, bringing his bed down with speed. while one person is left struggling with it. Clara. I watch in pleasure as the Sims puts all her weight onto the side of the bed, making it come flying down, getting tossed around and flattened under the Murphy bed. Just as she goes to get up feeling rather dazed, she collapses, bringing up the death message on the side of my screen. She would have died anyway due to starvation, but the bed beat her to it. Death stands over her body, staring at Clara in confusion. He is sure he has seen this girl die before. He throws away his tablet and brings out his scythe. He waves it around and with a flash turns Clara's body into an urn. Still a bit baffled, he picks up his scythe again to leave the doorless building. I thought it would be a bit of fun if I made a podium for the Sims. Or what's left of them. We have 7 Sims alive with Clara in 8th place. We're gonna remove the empty rooms so that at the end there will only be 1 room remaining. I wonder what room will go next. Multiple Sims are ravenous at this point. Many of them have food prepared on the side but are being dumb and choosing not to eat it. Barry is also ravenous. He does not have any good food on the counter in his room, however he does have a moldy plate of macaroni. He is staring down at his bed wishing he had the intelligence to actually get in it and sleep as he passes out from exhaustion. Matt chooses to sleep through the pain of his starvation, which will probably cause him to shrivel up and die. This is not very clever. I watch eagerly waiting for this to happen, as he sleeps his last sleep. Matt is then awoken from his sleep by his impending death, while he is glitched inside his bed. He collapses on the floor waiting for death to come for his body. Death arrives standing over the head poking out from underneath the bed. Just as this is happening, my attention is drawn to another death happening simultaneously with Gemma dying for the same reason as Matt. Starvation. Death notices the perfectly good fridge and oven on each of their rooms whilst making Matt's urn, questioning what goes on in their brains. It's Gemma's turn with Death now. She came in 6th place just after Matt in 7th. Death jumps in the air with his side, leaving an urn of Gemma on the floor and an empty room. I pick up both of the urns to place them on the podium, alongside Clara's ashes. Only 4 more must die before we have our champion. Barry, unlike Gemma and Matt, decided that he didn't actually want to die, so got himself a bowl of peas from the fridge to keep his chubby belly how it should be. I decided it was about time to get rid of something else in their tiny little rooms, time for the dishwasher to go. It just means that the Sims who are actually smart enough will have lots of dirty plates on the side. Barry decided it was about time to have a good old conversation with himself again. Barry's secret weapon allows him to top up his social bar unlike anybody else left in the experiment. It's that time of day again. Yep, time for the bed game. And they're off. They each pull out the remotes for the beds, and to my astonishment, Casey is actually first this time to get it down. Wow, how the tables have turned. Amy's is the one to get stuck this time. She tugged at the bed and lands hard on her back. She climbs back up, sadly escaping any sort of death. Okay, fine, I guess there will be no bed deaths today. What a big disappointment. As a result of disappointing me, I'm going to take away your tables now. Haha. Barry was cooking macaroni, obviously not very well because he manages to start a fire. He jumps up and down not knowing what to do. Of course he doesn't have the mental capacity to know to extinguish himself and the fire like any normal person would. Barry along with the rest of his room is now very charcoaled. He is now burned to the extent of death. He falls down onto his knees, lying dead in the fire. This is a new death so far in the experiment, making Barry come in 5th place. Death stands over Barry in the fire as it begins to spread to Amy's building. This is sabotage if you ask me. After a while of trying to get the Sims to call the fire department, George finally does what I say and got them here, who then put out the fire. Some spirits have returned and are with Amy possessing her toilet. I give them a bit of time to recover from the fire and then, once again, play the bed game. All bring the beds down successful without any trouble. This upset me a bit, so boring. So I got them to do it again. Still no trouble, damn it. All the dum-dums must have died. Another spirit joins Casey in his toilet. This startles him a bit. Gemma walks away from it and starts crying by all the urns, thinking about the really simple things she could have done to live. Casey lies filthy on his bed next to his broken toilet, spraying water everywhere. I notice a man that I do not know of standing by one of the urns crying. It is Gemma's. None of the Sims knew anybody else apart from each other, so I have no idea why this strange man is here. A ghost is cooking food for Amy, but manages to cause a fire instead. Amy must have some sense in her because unlike Barry, the first thing she does is grab a fire extinguisher and put it out. How sensible. This might have been the most sense I've witnessed in this entire experiment. Instead of being angry at the ghost, she decides to get all lovey-dovey with him while he eats some beans. Once again, it's time for the bed game. They go to get out their remotes and lower the bed. My camera is instantly brought over to Casey. His bed sticks. He pulls it down with all his weight and gets crushed. He lies dizzy on the floor and goes to get back up again. As he does this, he then falls back down. Death has finally got him. The winner of our last experiment was not so brilliant this time. Death once again arrives back on this lot with his tablet in hand. He leaves with Casey inside an urn, and with 3 Sims left alive. Casey came forth. Haha, not many people alive anymore. Lily stood at her oven for hours thinking about making food. But instead Smash chose to go without, which caused her to die. She falls inside her bed, which seems to be a common place to lie dead with these Sims. Death didn't have time to leave after Casey. He gives himself a breather before coming over to Lily. I really do make Death work for his money. He talks to Amy for a bit, having a little chit-chat before he has to go and make another urn. Death notices that Amy is also going to starve soon. He tells her to eat some food because he just wants to go to sleep and they're keeping him up. Death eventually makes his way over to Lily, and doesn't hesitate to turn her to ash. I add Lily to my podium and look at the final 2 spots that remain. Not long now, I think. There can only be one. Amy has 35 minutes left to prevent her starvation. She stands by a pot of macaroni that she made. All she needs to do now is eat it, but no, that would be far too easy. Instead, Amy decides to stare at the food, which can save her life for half an hour. The person who was once the most sensible for being able to put out a fire is now at the same dumb level that all her friends are at. An easily prevented death has been had. Death travels all the way over from Lily's room and turns Amy to ash with Clara's ghost watching. Amy came in 2nd place. This means that 1st place has been rewarded to George. George, the first person who died in my last experiment, and it wasn't even due to embarrassment. He has managed to make a comeback. George stands on the podium with all his friends. He is the proud winner, and obviously not as dumb as I once thought. George was the only reason that the fire was not able to spread into every other room in the lot and end the competition rather abruptly. His reward, like last time, is his life. That is until we do something new with them. It was fun seeing all the different ways that the Sims managed to kill themselves with whilst having everything they could possibly need for their survival. George is now feeling very tense from having nothing fun to do over the last couple of weeks, although his hunger and sleep seem to be doing quite well. Congratulations, George, you can take care of yourself like a normal human being. Hi again. If you have any other ideas of what I should do to these Sims, put them in the comments. We need lots of elaborate deaths in their futures. That'll be all. You can go now.